The next video was uploaded by a driver who was not expecting to see anything out of the ordinary that night. He was simply driving home from a gathering and quite honestly had his mind tuned out. After driving for more than 20 minutes, it seems that he came across somebody or something walking on the road in pitch darkness. Something in a white drape is crossing the street, and they didn't have any light source to see where they actually were going. The uploader called this night the Phantom Incident, and even though he thought at first that it was just a weirdo in a blanket, something makes him believe that this encounter was just not right, and how dangerous it is for anybody to walk on a dark highway like that. Was it a ghost? Some form of entity? Or just a regular person? Really hard to say. The following video was sent in by user Fantastic Power, who states that we are looking at a home video recording which was captured by a young woman. She was investigating a mysterious case that is involving a pretty scary haunting which is taking place within her new apartment. Apparently, the spirit of an evil entity is still residing in there, and the young woman foolishly held several rituals in which she opened the door even further to communicate with it. She stated that it always appeared for her when she was asleep, and since she loves to take a lot of naps, she started recording herself sleeping in different spots of the apartment. And one night, she states, she could capture this thing on video. Apparently, she was in some form of trance when it appeared. But in my opinion, we are just seeing an incredibly well done horror project. Nevertheless, it did cause nightmares for many people, and I find it is quite scary. What do you think? The next video comes from the channel Jimmy B Trail Cams. This channel is not paranormal in nature at all. Actually, Jimmy is located in Washington and owns multiple trail cameras that he places all over the forest to capture wildlife. He's posted multiple videos of various animals such as deer, owls, cougars, coyotes and many birds. However, a few months ago, Jimmy captured something on one of his cameras that he could not identify as one of the usual forest animals. Let's see what he caught. We can see the trail cam is aimed at a small patch of forest. Behind the trees, a creature suddenly appears in the frame. It's walking on 2 feet like a human, but it seems much larger and even looks like it might be covered in fur. This is definitely not a deer or cougar. Jimmy believes this could be a video of the elusive Bigfoot, a humanoid ape-like creature that is said to live in the forests of North America. The creature makes its way through the trees and disappears out of frame. Jimmy also mentioned that after this video was taken, 4 of his cameras went missing. Is it possible whatever Jimmy captured in this video doesn't want to be recorded? What do you think? This was documented by Caco Garcia 7. He is the owner of a workshop and was surveilling the security cameras in his shop. Oddly enough, he noticed that one of his employees, Juan, seemed to be talking to somebody, but nobody else was at the shop.
Llámalo, weón. No sé si me está agarrando para el huevo o no sé qué anda, weón.
I think we have subtitles?
¿Pero con quién habla, weón?
Let's see.
¿Aló? Oye, disculpa, pero ¿con quién estás hablando?
Con don Carlos, me está viendo, pasando el presupuesto y explicándole el tema del accidente que tuvo anoche en la carretera. Se me está viendo el presupuesto, le estoy
Oye,
explicándole.
Okay, so the owner of the shop is calling this man on camera and asking who he is talking to, because he apparently was talking to somebody, but you don't see anybody on camera.
Lo que le estoy diciendo.
oye, cálmate. ¿Qué, don Carlos? Pero, oye, escúchame un poquito. ¿Tú me estás hablando del accidente de anoche?
Claro,
Ah, me estáis huellando, ¿cierto?
no, pues estoy con don Carlos aquí, pues. Le estoy explicándole todo.
Oye, podéis subir. ¿Sabes qué? Oye, es que no estáis hablando con nadie, viejo.
Pero pues siempre que tengo el caballero aquí al frente mío, pues.
No estás hablando con nadie, Juan, y ayer los que chocaron murieron todos.
¿Qué te decía? Desde que los caballeros.
Juan, no estás con nadie, sube y ven a ver las cámaras, tengo todo grabado.
No, pero no sea así, pues, cabrón.
Sube, viejo, sube, vente al tiro. Si no estás con nadie, Juan.
Párala. Estoy con el caballero con el altavoz escuchándome él, pues.
Viejo, no, tengo grabado, vente por favor, vente.
No puede el tío correr, pero no puede tener. Espera, don Carlos, por favor. Y aquí al frente mío, pues.
No estás hablando con nadie, Juan, y ayer los que chocaron murieron todos.
There has been a fatal accident, and Juan thought he was talking to one of the people in the accident. I don't know how we know it was one of the involved people. Maybe it got mentioned. The following video stems from the next day when Juan was working on another vehicle. He states that he heard somebody knocking from outside and went to open the door. What's weird is that the security cameras seem to capture a lot of movement in the shop, causing the device to rotate around a lot, although nobody else was there yet again. I mean, that alone is quite eerie already, I find now. Why would the camera just move into the other direction? Maybe dust, I don't know. Okay, so now I think he must be thinking somebody's at the door. Okay, guess nobody's there, so might have just heard things, maybe. So he's calling his boss, maybe. God, that was slow. The next video was found by Brian and forwarded to me. It's not of best of quality, but what is transpiring on this video is quite interesting. It was captured by two friends who were just on their way home. The story goes that when the two heard some unusual weeping noises from the streets, they started recording, and then came across this. It looks like a figure in a white dress that seemingly vanishes for a brief moment after appearing out of thin air again. Some believe this to be the ghost of a lady that is walking the streets at night here. Could this be so? Is it maybe something more explainable? A light reflection of some sorts? Or what do you think? The next video was captured by a bus driver who was quite uneasy and was parking at the final destination of the day. His dashcam in the vehicle showed that there was still a passenger remaining. However, he was unable to see it with his own eyes. There seemed to be a person sitting in the front row with a fanny pack on or something. It's quite odd in particular, because apparently the driver went through the last recorded hours of footage and could not see anybody that looked remotely like that. Was it perhaps a ghost passenger? This was captured by Claire X. Challenger, and it is a capture that apparently frightened her whole family. She reached out to the paranormal community for a possible explanation, and she states, "Can anyone pick anything up from this? My two nieces snapped it last night. There was no one else in the room, and nobody knows that person in the back." A really sinister face can be seen behind one of her nieces in the back. It appears that it has an open mouth, and people pointed out that they can see teeth and a big nose. If we think about it, what could be the reason for this capture? Was there something else with them in the room that belonged to another realm? Was it a demon perhaps? Or just something in the background that they were not aware of? Although I find that a little bit unlikely. Let me hear your explanation for this. Not a lot is known about this next video. A man can be seen working at his computer late in the night. It's not clear if he knows the camera is on, or if perhaps he forgot to turn it off. Regardless, he's working away in his room when he catches something unexpected behind him. Also, the original source is unknown, unfortunately. Is that a shadow? It's almost as if something is behind there. And there it is again. Almost looks like he's in a hotel room. I mean, look at those cheap chairs. And they're... I suppose he has not seen anything at this point. Just hearing stuff and seeing the curtains move. What? Alright, so. Yeah, look at that thing. That is nightmarish. That is actually a shadow manifestation, I suppose. The next video was shared by a couple of friends who were exploring an old and dry water channel that hasn't been operated or been used in years. The group states that on the other side of the channel there is a patch of fig trees. A local legend tells about a mystical creature that supposedly is living in there. Being attracted by the creepy tales of this creature, they decided to check this area out. Thunder struck the skies at the time, but that didn't scare the young group off. Is it the mythical creature they were hoping to find? Pretty unusual to say the least. Maybe somebody pranked them this night. But maybe not. Maybe it is real. This video was posted by urban explorer Josh Fletch, who went to an abandoned penitentiary the following night with a bunch of his friends. The place was obviously abandoned and they were not expecting to find anything creepy. However, after Josh made it up to the first floor, he saw something in the supposedly empty cells.
I may or may not have climbed up because there's no stairs.
Oh! Oh, that's weird. That almost looks to me like somebody is holding something in the cell. This is so weird, isn't it? Huh. Now, does this have a back entrance? Now we will follow Japanese paranormal investigator MTV, who tonight was visiting a supposedly haunted high school, which has been abandoned for a long time. He states that he had visited this place before, and that he could capture a ton of really weird noises that in his opinion were inexplicable. Tonight he brought a colleague, and they were hoping to maybe capture some of this evidence on video. Let's take a look.
こっちがスナックのキッチンになってるとこですね。めっちゃ音すんだけど。これやすちゃんから借りてきたものでチェキ。ちょっと気になるところを何枚か撮って後で見ようと思います。さっきの顔がひょこっと出た。
MTV starts taking the first couple of pictures at the same location where he could capture a scary face the first time he visited this old high school.
ちょっと怖いですね。その時点でちょっと帰りたいなとは思いますけど、何枚かじゃあ中で撮っていきます。 ここら辺でも音が結構してたんで、入り口あたり。
it got pretty interesting. Next to loud bangs from the second floor, the washroom area also seemed suspicious to him, so he gave this one a quick look at first.
さっきからずっとトイレの方から音が。とりあえずじゃあ定点カメラを回収します。オープニングの場所まで戻ってきました。で
But after not finding anything on his camera, MTV then says that it is time to give the second floor a last look. And who knows, maybe he would find something there. Have you seen it? Look at the wall to the right. It appears that a head is peeking through, straight through the wall. What do you think? Nightmare material for sure. The next video was shared by the team of Clipstore. They were documenting a series of videos which they recorded in an abandoned Japanese hotel. Based on several stories, there were some paranormal encounters taking place in there. Tonight they were granted access to the second floor, on which there's one particular Buddhist altar room that has frightened many guests in the past. It is said that a ghost appears to guests, either on the hallway or even in the room itself. One of their team members will stay the night in this room, whilst the rest of the team is surveilling the camera from another floor. The young man that's staying in the room is giving a quick update about him feeling a bit uneasy, but nevertheless he falls asleep within the next hour. Several hours later, the man wakes up though. A person in white seems to be walking on the outside hallway, which based on the team's info is impossible since nobody else was there besides the two men on the top floor who were checking the camera. We were also speculating why their friend was staring at the ceiling for some reason. Strange. If this is not staged, could it be that a spirit was causing this odd behavior? Very eerie for sure. This night, Devil's Hour production went to one of the most haunted locations in Tennessee, the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. They spent about 10 hours in there that night. It was on the 3rd floor that one of their members might have captured something really strange at the end of the hallway.
It was mostly quiet, however, the footage showed we may have captured something. 2 hours into the investigation, while on the 3rd floor, I looked down one of the hallways with the POV rig I designed. It looked like a figure standing right next to the door, but it disappeared quickly. With the footage slowed down, you could see it more clearly.
In their opinion, it might have been a shadow figure that was watching them that night. Could this be so?
At first I am thinking this was due to camera exposure. You can see it start out dark as the camera points down the hallway. The distance change causes the camera to adjust to the exposure. This shadow, however, seems humanoid in shape and height, like a person, then suddenly disappears. I also know this isn't my shadow because you can see my shadow was casting onto the floor here.
Was it an actual spirit or something explainable? What's your opinion? The next recording was filmed by a property owner
And I think there's a squatter in this house.
who had an ongoing renovation in one of his new houses.
I think he's in here. Hello?
He was sure that there was an intruder around since apparently he could hear several bangs and even saw a dark figure through one of the windows. For his own safety, he decided to record the whole situation on video as well. I also hope he had something to defend himself with, since you never know what or who could enter your house nowadays. He checks several rooms of the house, but finds nothing. At some point, there are some unusual sounds, which are the reason for him to check this specific area.
Hello?
What then unfolded could still not be explained to him up until this day. I've shut my pants. An invisible force even seems to tamper with his camera after he ran out of the property.